So our next visit is going to be with the Barco team, which is right behind me. We're going to visit with our old friends Yannick and Gauthier and find out the latest on their Clickshare product and the new hub product that they have, a relatively new hub product that they have, and what's the latest with their partnerships and the announcements that they've made. So let's go have a conversation with them and hear what's going on. So Yannick and Gauthier, when we met a couple of years ago, we were talking about this as what your next generation product would be. And this has now been out for a while, and there have been some very interesting changes with it going forward, right? Certification, bundles. You want to give us a quick update as to what the latest news is on this?
Absolutely. We have been certifying the Clickshare Hub with a variety of products, being the Hudley C1, for example, but we're also very, very excited with our partnership and our certification with the Logitech Meetup 2.
That's the newest one.
Absolutely. And there's plenty of others coming, so stay tuned. This is going to start rolling off the press.
And I'm most excited about the way that we're talking about it right now, the way the industry is talking about it, which is this, the Clickshare Hub, both versions of it, are certified for Microsoft Teams, as you said, with those bundles. So if you have a Teams meeting, you go in and you use it. But if you don't have a Teams meeting, if you've got Zoom or something else, you just use the button, and all of a sudden now you're able to do it without making any major changes wirelessly. You don't have to start searching for wires or dongles. And I don't think there are too many other companies that are doing that. That's a pretty unique feature to you guys, right?
Yes, it is. And it's the core of what Clickshare wants to be. We always want to focus on the human behavior, on the people. What we see a lot of companies are standardizing on Microsoft Teams rooms, rightfully so, I would say. There's one thing that you cannot standardize on, and that's human behavior, and that's people. And you also cannot standardize on your customers, your suppliers. If they have Zoom, if they have Meetup, then you need to use those platforms as well. So that's why we are very excited to announce that feature launching this month.
Yeah, now we've seen a lot of discussion about sovereign connectivities, especially throughout Europe and in some parts of Asia, that don't want to be on these US-centric platforms, and they're going to be using their own. And for you guys, I suppose it's just a shrug. You don't care because it'll work exactly the same way. Standard Microsoft Teams in the room, but if somebody comes up with some new platform, you don't have to worry about interoperability. You just plug in the dongle and go.
Exactly.
Absolutely. And with this BYD workflows that we will enable with the software release coming this summer, is that you can still use all of these devices, all of these platforms from your own laptop, and then basically use them to your fullest advantage with all the features that are there. Some things that either is not there with Direct Guest Join, or you would have to pay a huge price with integrations such as SpexIP to just be able to use these platforms next to your standardized MTR or Teams room system that you would deploy in your meeting room.
And another thing that isn't clear in most of the messaging around that is pretty clear in yours. This is a standardized, certified Microsoft Teams device. So for all of the Teams management, for all of the room management, for all of making sure that you're connected and you're operating and your uptime, you're standard on Teams, but you're not giving up the ability to do any of those other platforms, either the other three major ones or ones that may come along that we're not even aware of.
Exactly, yeah.
So next to the management and these capabilities, what is very important and very strong with the Clickshare Hub is that you have one unit that you can deploy in a wide variety of meeting rooms, and the management, but especially also the user experience, is exactly the same in each and every one of these meeting rooms.
Okay. So let's talk about the bundles, because you went through them very quickly, and I know you've talked about some names, and you know I have my opinions about the strengths and weaknesses of some of the products. When you talk about being able to work with the Logitech, with the Meetup, the Meetup 2, excuse me, that's a different kind of class of experience. Logitech is probably one of the largest suppliers of these video cameras and room systems, and was it different working with them than it was working with any of your other partners?
Yes and no, in the sense that larger companies are often a little bit more rigid and it takes a little bit more time to get things or certain things done, but we have a very long-standing relationship with Logitech, so this was a logical step for us, for them, and just another step in our relationship.
New product, but the relationship was already there, so that helped also in the certification.
So that was a really good conversation with our friends over at Barco. I don't think enough people are making the point that as we've been talking about these new sovereign platforms, as opposed to the large four meeting ones, the Teams, Zoom, WebEx, and Google Meet, I got to remember them, that while everybody's trying to come up with their interoperability and compatibility strategy around them, very few people are talking about what happens when the next platform comes out. What happens when it's the Visio thing that France is talking about using? What happens when it's the next platform we've never heard of? And these people, the Barco team with Clickshare, have the dongle, the button, you can plug it in and connect to whatever platform's on your notebook, as well as still being a pure MTR managed device on the Microsoft network. So I think it's actually really a very interesting idea that you can buy this one piece of software, be native Teams compatible, yet be ready for anything that comes in the future going forward.